What's happening, guys, and welcome back to yet another video. Don't forget to say hi to Firecracker. Oh, he went in the light, hiding, but that's all right. We're gonna go ahead and get started without him. So today it's gonna be a little bit interesting. I ran across a video about an article kind of situation, and I really wanted to share it with you guys. So basically, uh, one of the I don't know. There was basically like these insane gardeners, reforestation people, um, and I believe that this was the one. And we'll get into all the details and everything here in just a second with you guys. Oh, and before I forget, sorry, bouncing all over the place. Don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment. Love talking to you guys. If there's any specific articles or studies y'all want me to go over here, go ahead and drop those in the comments, and I'll get to them and we'll go ahead and produce a video, get it shared, and all that information out there. So, basically, what this one is about is two people were responsible for dumping literally metric tons of orange peels into a forest to revive it. And there are certain, restrictions and ups and downs, but I just wanted to show you guys how easy it is to get started. I think this one was done in 16 years, but I mean, you're talking about hundreds of acres. Like it wasn't a small project. It was a large scale project. So those tend to take significantly longer, 4 or 5 times as long as they could if you were to just do something like this at your house. So for this, I am actually on princeton.edu. Again, none of these are affiliated links. I don't get paid for any of this. It's just information. And, information is more valuable than money. So, without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into this. The title says Orange is the New Green, How Orange Revived a Costa Rican Forest. Um, and if you guys like this, I had also seen one using coffee. So, um, look for that video. Maybe I'll post it here or something for you guys. Um, but we're going to go ahead and dive in. So, in the mid 1990s, 1,000 truckloads of orange peels and orange pulp were purposely, they did it on purpose, unloaded onto a barren pasture in Costa Rican National Park. Today, that area is covered in lush, vine laden forest. Um, so, don't go dump orange peels out. I don't know if it's going to cover it in this one, but there's a chemical in orange peel called limonene, I believe. It's actually what is the main product in our cleaning supplies. So, whenever you get a cleaning product and it it's lemon scented or whatever, it's probably limonene. And limonene is also a growth inhibitor and restriction. Like it can actually kill nature. Like it's too much. Not just the acidity is an issue for these guys. And in this process, the limonene is got removed. So it's a little bit different. It is coming through an orange juice company, and they'll extract the limonene for the cleaning products, and then just the peels are left, and that's what got dumped here by the literal metric ton. Uh, let's see. A team led by Princeton University researchers surveyed the land 16 years after the orange peels were deposited. They found a 176% increase in above ground biomass, or the wood in the trees. Within the 3 hectare area studied, 7 acres is what they were studying. Their results are published in the journal Restoration Ecology. This story, which involves a continuous lawsuit, showcases the unique power of agricultural waste to not only regenerate a forest, but also to sequester a significant amount of carbon at no cost. So, what they're talking about is, in this case, um, grade one. Grade one. Every company has waste. I don't care what company it is, they have waste. Now, though there are recycling programs, they only do that generally for one of two reasons. Either they're trying to look good with the public, or somebody's paying them to do it, or it saves them money. It's a money game. So what happened was the initially two researchers, or the two, the two people involved with the initial dumping, had went to one of the companies and said, "Hey, this is what we're doing. Just like whenever you're trying to get supplies for your extreme gardening projects, you go around, you have to talk to people. Well, this one orange company is like the first one they went to. They were just like, yeah, just start dumping. We're going to see how it works. We don't even know whether or not it'll work. We don't know how much we need. Let's just start with one, and then we'll go from there." Another orange juice company got upset and sued and won. So everything was immediately shut down. And so the group of researchers that surveyed the land 16 years after was a different group. And what they were trying to do is whatever happened to it. You know what I mean? It was kind of like us, where someone came across an article and they're just like, has anyone checked on it? So they send in a group, and that's the numbers that they're talking about now, with the 176% increase. It was a protected national forest, and so one side where they needed the reforestation is where the peels were dropped, and the side that was fine is the we're going to say that is the original, which they've been trying to have recuperate on its own without any human input because it's protected. So this is one of the only instances I've ever heard of where you can have cost negative carbon sequestration, so weed suppression. Said Timothy, we don't care about all that necessarily. Princeton. It's not just a win-win because the company and the local park, it's a win for everybody. So that's what they're talking about. Normally these companies, they always have waste and they have to pay to do something. And normally that would have all gone into landfill. And it currently, a lot of it does. And this would have been an opportunity for these companies to dump their waste somewhere in a protective manner that not only rebuilds our earth and our ecosystem, and could essentially within a number of years fix big problems like global warming. Because you'll find out the expansion in biodiversity and the life afterwards. Stuff like this gets shut down all the time. The original idea was sparked by husband-wife team Daniel Jansen and Winnie Halawach, both ecologists at the University of Pennsylvania, who worked as researchers and technical advisors for many years at Area de Conservation, we're going to say ACG, in Costa Rica. Jansen and Halawach, who graduated from Princeton in 1976, have focused the... Man, we're on a roll. I did a video earlier from 1973, and now this one's in 1976. Sorry. Have focused the latter half of their careers on ensuring a future for endangered tropical forest ecosystems. So they're part of the reforestation effort. In 1997, they presented an attractive deal to Del Oro, an orange juice manufacturer that had begun production along the northern border of ACG. If Del Oro would donate part of its forested land to the ACG, so they had some land that was just forest. They're like, hey, if you'll give us the forest, we'll give you a place to dump. Win-win. The company could deposit its orange peel waste for biodegradation at no cost on degraded land within the park. So it was within certain areas. Hey, we'll mark it off. Just dump here. When we move the area, you dump different. Dump over in the new area. In 1997, degraded land. But a year after the contract was signed, so they got everything done, and then a year later, during which time 12,000 metric tons of orange peels were unloaded onto the degraded land, Tico Fruit, a rival company, sued, arguing the company had defiled a national park. The rival company won the case in front of Costa Rica's Supreme Court, and the orange peel covered land was largely overlooked for the next 15 years. They got jelly. More like That's a jelly joke. I don't really have a good orange joke, but aren't you glad? Orange, you glad? Anyways, um, so yeah, 15 years after that, they were just like, meh, screw it. It is what it is, because they're not going to haul it out of there. In the summer of 2013, Truer was discussing potential research avenues with Jansen when they discussed the site in Costa Rica. Jansen said that while taxonomists, biologists who classify organisms, had visited the area, no one had really done a thorough evaluation. So while on another research trip to Costa Rica, Truer decided to stop by the site to see what had changed over the past decade. It was completely overgrown with trees and vines. Completely. And I couldn't even see the 7 foot long sign with bright yellow lettering marking the site that was only a few feet from the road, Truer said. I knew we needed to come up with some really robust metrics to quantify exactly what was happening and to back this eye test, which was showing up at this place and realizing visually how stunning the difference was between fertilized and unfertilized areas. Schur studied the area with Jonathan Choi, who at the time was a senior studying ecology and evolutionary biology at Princeton. Choi turned the project into his senior's thesis. The site was more impressive in person than I could have imagined, Choi said. While I would walk over exposed rock and dead grass in the nearby fields, I'd have to climb through underground and cut paths through walls of vines in the orange peel site itself. When they walked through this, within 16 years, not only had it completely restored the ecosystem, it advanced it. I don't know if they're going to bring it up in here by how much, but the area where the orange peels was even in an even better shape and traditional, local non-invasive plants compared to the original protected site. But yet we haven't they never I don't know if they've ever opened it back up to start doing it again. Probably not, but it would be cool if they did. Uh, the research team evaluated 2 sets of soil samples to determine whether the orange peels enrich the soil's nutrients or cause damage, I'm guessing. The first set of samples was collected and analyzed in 2000 by co-author Laura Shanks of Beloit College, and the second set was collected in 2014 by Choi Shanks. Data never Oh, it was never published. So her analysis was combined with Choi's for the purposes of this study. The samples were analyzed using different but comparable methods. So, to quantify the changes in vegetation structure, the researchers established several transects within the orange waste treatment area. These transects were 100-meter long parallel lines through the forest where all trees within 3 meters were measured and tagged. So they're actually going to go in, and this is going to explain how they're doing a full scale breakdown. They're going to figure out every living component within a certain area and compare to the evidence they already had from the original site that didn't have the orange peels. Um, for comparison, what they found were more dramatic differences between the areas covered in orange peels and those that were not. The area fertilized by orange waste had richer soil, more tree biomass, greater tree species richness, and greater forest canopy closure. Biodiversity was present. Plenty of environmental problems are produced by companies, which, to be fair, are simply producing the things people need or want. That was said by David Wilkov, a professor of ecology and evolutionary biology and public affairs and the Princeton Environmental Institute. But an awful lot of those problems can be alleviated if the private sector and the environmental community work together. I'm confident we'll find many more opportunities to use the leftovers, they're using quotations, from industrial food production to bring back tropical forests that's recycling at its best. In addition to Choi, it's about to list all these people. Basically, it's just everyone involved. The paper Low Cost Agricultural Waste Accelerates Tropical Forest Regeneration, that was all one title in quotation, was published July 28th in Restoration Ecology. The research was funded by the Princeton Environmental Institute's Waldbridge Fund. Basically, it's just naming all the funds and the people responsible for paying for it. But yeah, that's for the most part fairly accurate. And like I said, but there's another one. You know what? Since we went through it, we'll go ahead and we'll hit them both up at once. We'll do the orange peels and the coffee grounds. So we'll using. Let me see if I can pull it up. If I can find it pretty quickly, we'll go ahead and do it in this video. Actually found that pretty quickly. Not gonna lie, I was just like, dang, first thing. And I'm even more surprised. Apparently, it's in Costa Rica. So only Costa Rica wants to help with reforestation. Anyways, a forest. So this one is going to be on nationalgeographic.com. The title is A Forest on Caffeine, in quotations with a question mark. How coffee can help forests grow faster. So those of you that are familiar with the coffee plant, and for those of you that aren't, you're about to learn. Basically, a coffee plant is a tree. It's a fairly aggressive grower, and generally on farms, it actually gets chopped back every year. The new growth comes in, and then it fills with berries. Those berries contain a nut inside, or a seed, which is the coffee bean, which isn't really a bean. Like I said, it's more of a nut or a seed, but which then the coffee bean gets roasted and then ground and then steeped and then drank. So that's how you get your coffee, guys. But basically, the berries around it are tart. They are edible. They're made for jellies, jams, but you don't really hear much about them. So for a large percentage of coffee companies, it's a high waste product because there's probably more of the fruit than there is just the bean. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and dive in. Basically, they took their waste product, did the same concept. And I do need to throw this out there, guys. Do not just cover your yard in food scraps. That is not how this works. Does it work over time? Yes. Here's the problem, though. When you do it in an environment around a large amount of animals or human environment, you run the risk of bringing in diseases. In nature, when we do dumps like this, technically, over time, you're safe. In a city environment, that's like rats, for example. Rats carry a lot of diseases. They're going to be, they're very prominent in cities, certain cities more than others, and they're going to be attracted to something like that. So now you have disease running amok and pooping all in that, which for the environment is good, but for us is not. So we go ahead and dive in. Just like us, forests move faster with a little coffee in their system, which is kind of true. I love giving coffee grounds to worms because you can't really give them to your chickens. But like the worms, I just feel like they're so aggressive when they eat and stuff. Like they just get so much done when I put coffee in their system. So a recent experiment tested whether coffee pulp, a leftover of the coffee growing process, could bring Costa Rica's rainforest back to life. Researchers from the University of Hawaii at Manoa tested 2 plots to see how the coffee waste would affect deforested land, covering one parcel of grass with about 20 inches of pulp and leaving the other untouched. 20 inches is 4 inches less than 2 foot. So like that's a nice size section of just solid waste. So now y'all get the whole rat thing that I was talking about. No, you're not always going to have rats, by the way, for the people that are like, eek. So at each site, land had been exploited for years, either to grow coffee or raise cattle, and was eventually abandoned. So basically, when bad farming or agricultural practices are used, you're going to have land or soil that's considered depleted, and you can't use it for anything for like years. So you might as well start restoring it. That's basically what they're doing here. So it was dominated by invasive grasses, primarily an African species called palisade grass, used to feed grazing livestock. The grass can reach 16 feet tall when not trimmed. It's kind of like Johnson grass in our area. by grazing animals, preventing native rainforests from easily regrowing. After 2 years, the plot of land. No, I don't want to sign in. What is with these people? Way. Okay, we're going to have to find a different one. We'll try again. Give me a sec. Okay, so we jumped to sciencefocus.com. It says coffee waste can supercharge the growth of new forests. We're just going to run off this one. I'm pretty sure I'll get the concept. We'll try to keep this one under a half hour. Um, forests with a caffeine habit could recover 4 times sooner, ecologists say. There's also a lot of studies coming out that say coffee is bad for the soil. Um, I say Bolshevik. Honestly, I think nature will work it out. Honestly, maybe not just using one thing would be the best. Just biodiversity always wins. But what do I know? I just work here. So it says, what happens when you dump 30 trucks full of coffee waste on land set aside for reforestation? Well, the forest recovers a heck of a lot faster, according to a study based in Costa Rica. Researchers spread coffee pulp, a waste product of coffee production, across old agricultural land measuring 35 by 40 meters, and the plot recovered 4 times faster than a control area. Talk about a caffeine boost. The results were dramatic, said Dr. Rebecca Cole from the University of Hawaii's lead author of the study. The area treated with a thick layer of coffee pulp turned into a small forest in only 2 years, while the control plot remained dominated by non-native pasture grasses. So literally side-by-side comparison, and within 2 years they already have trees, like dominating. Working with collaborators from the Swiss Research University, Cole's team spread a layer of coffee pulp half a meter thick across the entire area. This eliminated the invasive grass species, allowing native trees to recolonize quickly. Their seeds spread by wind and animal dispersal. So basically, all of the animals in the area, when they would come feed, would poop and do all their business there. And a lot of it actually has seeds, and there would be a lot of birds, and birds are a very, very important part of the ecosystem. Not many people realize. They're responsible for spreading a large variety of seeds. It's a good example of like sticker burrs. Local sticker burrs are actually built to stick onto something, sticker burrs, like a dog or bird, or really just anything to be plucked or removed or dropped later in a new area for that seed to then spread. After 2 years, after 2 years, an area treated with coffee pulp had 80% canopy cover compared to 20% in the control area. The tree literally 4 times as efficient. The trees in the coffee pulp area were also 4 times taller, and there was significantly higher levels of nutrients in the soil, including carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus. And potassium, if they're shy, just throw some banana peels out there and you're ready to rumble. The study conducted on land that underwent drastic deforestation in the 1950s shows that cheap, readily available waste products can accelerate the recovery of tropical forests. It's useful intel also as the world aims to restore large areas of the forest in line with the 2015 Paris Climate Agreement. So yeah, basically same thing for the most part as what happened with the orange peels. It suppressed all the weeds. It allowed the right ones to come through. Local wildflowers, even though they are weeds, are not really the same. Weeds are more of a pest product, while wildflowers are beneficial, especially for insects and things like that. So I would really, really take this time and think about it. That is literally how important mulch layers are. We're fixing the soil, but greed's winning. So make sure to be the person on the right side of history and start learning about the practices. Like this stuff cannot be forgotten. It's pretty important, I didn't exactly hear that on the news anytime recently, but I think it's pretty mind-blowing. So another win for humanity or the environment, or however you want to spin it. So like I said, don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment if y'all have any specific ones you want me to go over, studies, stuff like that. I've really been enjoying the study section a little bit more since we've kind of got past most of the introductions. We can kind of jump into specifics and studies and work that other people have done and really just explore the world of growing. So, I hope you guys have a great day. Be kind out there, be courteous, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.